Alright, what's going on everybody, it's Liam here and welcome to today's video on the channel. And in today's video I have a commentary for y'all, and I will be offering my opinions on what I think is going to be the best schools for 160 in terms of PvP. Now keep in mind we've only seen half of these schools be audited and stuff like that, but I'm going to try to use my PvP knowledge to predict where things are going to go. I've been right pretty much every time, 4th age going into 5th age and all of 5th age so far, so I'm kind of hoping I can be wrong for the first time, and I feel like I really am going to be, but you know, that's the fun with these videos. And yeah, let's get right into it right away, guys. Alright, so coming in at the #1 spot, I think I'm gonna have to put Myth, and I have a couple of reasons why I want to put Myth here. First and foremost, Myth stats got a massive buff this update, and that was what was holding Myth back originally in Live ROM. Right, you had a shield gambit, which is obviously the meta right now in PvP, is shield gambits. But your stats were pretty bad on a Myth, but now they're really good in test ROM, like really freaking good. So that is like one of your biggest buffs. Secondly, on a Myth right now, you basically cover every base without even needing a mastery, which is pretty cool. And now that we see school pips come in, right, you're gonna see Myth Wizards be a lot more crazy and have a lot easier of a time countering a lot of things and being able to set up their gambits more rapidly. Now keep in mind, we haven't even seen Myth's audit from the library yet. I'm sure it'll be a lot, you know, very punishing to play Myth, kind of like it is a fire right now with the fire audits. Myth counters weaknesses and shields, which are obviously pretty huge deals in the game. But another cool thing about Myth is the amount of utility you have, right? You look at the Maple Moose pet, 3 fuels, right? You look at the fuel deck that you can combo with, right? The Betrayal, Delusion. There's so many ways to create tempo and create a crazy amount of pressure on a Myth right now. And then you have cards like Athena, which is, you know, top it all off. Mystic is really good. King Art can be decent. Saga is really good. You know, you have a really good 4-pip. You have like a Headless too, which is pretty cool. Myth literally just has everything right now, which is pretty nice to see, and it's going to be a lot of fun playing it. I think once, you know, obviously we get the updated gear in Live ROM, I think Myth is going to be top of the boards and the highest win rate. I don't know, man. I really think it makes sense, right? You already counter everything. You're going to get to counter more stuff. You have some of the best stats in the game now on an offensive school, and your utility is absolutely nuts. But let me know what you guys think about this one in the comments below. Personally, I need to get better on my Myth, so, you know, I'll probably be spamming Q because I think it's going to be the best school, and hopefully I can improve on the Myth. Coming in at the #2 spot, I think I'm going to put Death here. Now, Death was the bottom 3 worst schools in Live ROM. That is, you know, Fire, Storm, and Death, in case you weren't wondering. Storm and Death would switch around periodically depending on the meta. But Death got a lot of big updates. Their stats, notably, right? They had incredible stats in Live ROM. They have the same stats, but they're just better on Test ROM. Like, you get 10 more resist and, like, 30 more damage with the same pierce. It's absolutely nuts. Not to mention the buffs to like cards like Grim Reader. Headless is still pretty good in test realm as well. There is still 0 counterplay to drains, and Dumoni got a huge buff as well. Dumoni is kind of weird. I've seen like 90% of the community hate this Dumoni change, so I'm not even sure it'll make it into Live ROM personally. I think the devs thought this was like a kind of nerf or something, but I don't think anybody in the community sees it this way. The issue with shield gambits and specifically Dumoni is A, there's no counterplay. B, the damage is absolutely insane, and you can set it up for free, right, with 0-pip tri-shields, and it's insanely easy to set up. And the shield counters aren't that good. Maybe for fire, but even then, right, if a Death just gets like a ton of shields on, even with shield counters, you just can't get them all off on time. when you're spending pips and they are not spending any pips to generate them. So I think Death will be one of the best schools only because it's going to get countered by Myth, which Myth is going to be absolutely insane. This update, like I'm calling it. So the only school that's better than you is going to be your hard counter. A good Death can give a good Myth a good run for its money, I would say. At least in Live Realm and Test Realm. I'm kind of curious to see where it'll go. I think if Myth didn't have Jin, I think it'll be, you know, a pretty fun matchup to watch. But typically the Myth can Jin and the Death can't Oni in these matchups. So it'll be pretty interesting. But I think Death can beat literally every single school except for Myth with this 160 update. And that is my prediction for the number 2 spot. Alright, coming in at number 3, I think I'm going to have to put Balance. Now, I think Balance is going to be incredibly good this update, and I'm looking forward to it because, as you guys know here on the channel, I actually like Balance a lot. I just stopped playing it because it got like really powerful when Hydra got a buff and stuff like that, and I don't like playing the meta schools all the time. You guys know that. But I think something very interesting to note with this update is blades and traps are going to be a lot harder to pull off, right? You look at cards like the new Banshee or the new Ice Spell. If they blade once, it could be a death sentence. And Balance can get access to those kind of cards, right? We haven't seen any trap counters yet in Test Realm, but I imagine the trap counters will be very punishing, just like the blade one, right? So what can you do against a Balance? What, you blade and you trap. But if the Balance has those counters, right? You can't aura because they'll pop you. You can bubble maybe, but a good Balance can play around that, right? Especially with cards like Brace not being looked at right now, as to my knowledge. I think Balance is going to be absolutely insane. Not to mention Lore Master. I'm not sure if they're going to do anything about this card. I think it might get a very minor nerf if I had to guess. It's just incredibly powerful. It does like 1300 open right now in Test Realm. And it's just absolutely nuts. And I'd really like to see them look at this card in general. I really hope they do. If they were going to make this worse or take it away from Balance, I think it would be a bit more of a mid-school. But I think it'll be more of a menace with this update. I think the reason I'm not placing Balance higher is simply just because the other schools are going to have better matchups than you, right? Again, Death and Myth can pretty much beat anybody. You could argue a good Balance player could beat anybody as well, and I agree with that logic, but I think you'll have a lot easier of a time on the, you know, the Shield Gambit meta schools than just having to play well on a Balance, basically. Next up, I'm going to have a tie between Fire and Storm. Now, some people will probably be surprised by this, but I think both Fire and Storm right now are not bad at all with Test Realm. I think Fire got massive buffs, and I'm very happy about it. And that's kind of the reason why I'm putting it on the same level as Storm. Both of these schools, you know, whether you think they're top tier or not, or they're really bad, both of these schools now create a crazy amount of pressure that you have to respect and you have to play around, right? Whether you're playing the best Storm or the worst Storm, or the best Fire, the worst Fire, you have to respect what the hell is going on in the battlefield now. And you have to be very careful of the moves you make, because the amount of damage these schools can do now and the amount of pressure and counterplay they have can really add up pretty quickly, and things can go south really fast. Now, even though Storm hard counters Fire, a good Fire, especially with the Dark Pact pet, can beat a Storm right now. And this is only because cards like Everburn are not PvP banned, right? Storm lost all its 6 pips, but Fire kept it when Fire's an overtime school. Fire has a Freet, you know, Sun Serpent, that kind of stuff. S'mores as well, which is like 6 and 7 pips right now. So a good Fire can beat a Storm if they play better. And I think it's going to just really come down to whoever plays better, and it's a very even and skillful matchup, which I think is a bit odd since Storm is supposed to hard counter Fire. But I think the only reason Storm doesn't really hard counter Fire is because Fire can just play like a Storm and have success right now. One thing I will note, Catalan is basically like a mini Ifrit, so a Storm can compete with obviously Ifrit now. which is pretty cool. But I think it's more of a skillful matchup. And yeah, that's just what I think, guys. Let me know what you think about this in the comments below. Alright, coming up at the number 6 spot, I think this is going to be Ice. Now, y'all will probably be surprised by this. I kind of am too. But first thing I'm going to talk about is the resist buff. This basically only affects Ice. Ice basically got 20% extra resist is the best way to explain it with this update, which is pretty mental. Like, you know, why would you do that, King's Isle, right? But we haven't really seen any of Ice's audits yet. I would assume, since the community is complaining about the Blimp Pet, Snowman, Colossus, I would assume we're going to see some nerfs to Ice. If not, you know, have some things be shifted around. Like Colossus will be like Frost Beetle, or, you know, Snow Serpent, obviously to prevent, you know, Ice doing a lot of damage, for example. Or maybe Snowman will be like Colossus or something. So it's a lot, you know, harder for Ice to do many things at once with this update. But I think Ice is just going to be a lot worse because, you know, obviously Ice shields, right? Fire now claps Ice. Ice claps Fire in Live Realm. Myth is going to be like top of the food chain. Fire can beat an Ice pretty well. People are going to be dual schooling with Fire, obviously, to counteract the shield meta. I think all that's going to change with this update is Ices are going to have to get out of their brainless mindset of, you know, Frostbite A-Bomb, Snowman A-Bomb. They're going to actually have to be a lot more tactical with their play, which is what, you know, I can appreciate. That is why I enjoy playing my Ice personally. Again, I haven't been playing him like my balance because I like to actually think out my moves and not just always have a good move like A-Bomb, Snowman, right, Frostbite. I don't like schools like that, personally. So I'm really happy to see that they're, you know, providing more thought in general for the school, and I'll definitely be playing it more because of that, this update. Alright, coming in the last spot, I have Life. Now, I kind of feel like Life goes from the best school to the worst school really fast within updates. It's kind of weird how that works. My whole, like, year and a half, 2 years I've been around on this game. I've seen this, you know, so many times, but basically, the reason I think Life is not as good right now is because healing got nerfed pretty hard, right? With damage going, you know, up a lot to, you know, try and counteract resist, unlike Live Realm, healing is going to be a lot harder to pull off now. I would argue healing now is going to be more of a skill set than ever before. Obviously, because the damage is higher, but because some of the new cards we have, like Banshee, which is a pretty effective like hit, debuff, and infection. Queen Calypso, which is a minus 80 infection on a pretty decent hit, right? Players are going to be packing threefolds now more than ever to set up their gambits because you're more incentivized to now more than ever. So I think all of these things are just going to result in Life not being that great. Not to mention Luminous Weaver being a broken card ever since the dawn of time. You know, this card just simply doesn't follow, like, you know, Rochambeau or audit rules, really. I don't think it really ever has, but especially with how things are now, Life just has no reason having a card like this, and I'm happy to see it, you know, go under audit because every single Life just spams this card, and it's really disappointing because Life PvP should be more than just Lumi, 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 Lumi. Right? There should be more depth and more layers and more skill to the school rather than just clicking the same card over and over. So I'm really happy to see that this is, you know, going to get an audit and probably, you know, most realistically a big nerf. If you are a Life main, what would you like to see happen to Lumi? Because obviously hit and weakness does not follow the, you know, like audit or Rochambeau rules. I've heard players talk about a hit and pacify, hit and guiding light, and stuff like that. Maybe a hit and sanctuary could be cool or something. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comments below. What would you change Lumi to? Because, like I said, it does not follow any of the rules right now, at least. That's really all I have for y'all in today's video. I've been wanting to get this one out for a while now. Let me know if you guys agree with what I gotta say in the comments below. What is your tier list prediction for the 160 update? I will be reading all the comments as usual. If you made it this far, be sure to leave a like, rating, and subscribe if you're brand new. I do post every single day, and I'd really appreciate it. But yeah, without further ado, I'm gonna head out of here. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one. And as always, take care, guys.